You want to organize things. In this video, we're going to look at system, which is a Google Spreadsheet, and we're going to try to take a step back. A very simple and quite powerful tool. Section for fixed expenses, section for variable expenses, totals showing. You want to organize things, money, tasks, school. Everyone says just use a spreadsheet, but what is a spreadsheet? Is it Excel? Is it Google Sheets? Is it something that organized people use? Nothing to be intimidated about, actually. If you never looked at any spreadsheets before, it's in the next few minutes I'm going to explain you a few simple concepts that kind of to try to turn your mind around about it. Yeah, there's nothing too difficult, and even if you never looked at a spreadsheet before and you think it's too technical, don't worry about it. I'm gonna make it easy. Hello, I'm Zhenya. I'm a project manager and complex systems researcher, and I like to look at the systems which do not work. And in this video, we're going to look at one system, which is a Google Spreadsheet, and we're going to try to take a step back and look at the super basics, like the baseline of for students especially who want to organize things but don't know this very simple and quite powerful tool that can make a lot of the headaches go away. Yeah? Let's jump into this spreadsheet, and when you go into it, you will see that it is essentially what is here is a blank piece of paper. So you can think about it as a blank piece of paper. However, the big difference between a blank piece of paper and a piece of paper which has like a tabular structure, like a table, yeah, is that each bit of this paper has a very precise name, yeah, the coordinates, yeah. For example, this one is D13, this one is F3. So if you put something in a D13, for example, number 2, and then you place another one in F13 and then number 2, they are no longer just numbers on a blank piece of paper. They have coordinates, which means that you can go to another cell, for example, B4, and you can tell it to add D13 plus F3. And you see, it has number 4 in this sheet because what happens, and I'm going to put it in slightly gray color, yeah? So what you see here now is the specific situation happening here, yeah? So you have one type of cell which just has the value, and you have some sort of data, and it doesn't matter which data. And you have another type of cell which does not contain data itself, but it expresses the relationship between those other bits. And because each piece of paper has the coordinates, you can knock yourself out, you can go as sophisticated as you want. From here, essentially, once you understand this bit, anything else that you learn about Google Spreadsheets afterwards, it's gonna build on this easy system, yeah? So there are two types of cell. That's one thing. If you want to take one thing out of this video, take this thing. Yeah, there's two types of cell. One has the data, no matter what it is, numbers or text or anything else. And then there's another type of cell which is a relationship between those data, yeah? And that's why I also paint them gray, because you don't want to mess around with this. If you can change this, you can put instead of 2, you can put for 5 here, yeah, for example. This is going to change because it still expresses the relationship between those two. So you don't want to delete, for example, that cell if you need it. So that's why I try to make it a different color, and then so that I know that I can change values in this, but it's better to stay away from these cells which have formulas on them. Yeah. Two other big things that you want to know. You can ignore the rest of the interface for now. It doesn't matter what's there. And if you go to Excel, it's even worse because there's a lot of design happening. The interface design is very intimidating. You can ignore all of it. Just remember two things. Like if you look at the bottom, you see there are different tabs. They're called tabs, which allow you to go between different basically pages for this spreadsheet, yeah? And that's what you're gonna need. For example, if you want to download the spreadsheet, and actually you can go to the download section of my website, you can download this, and you want to go to these tabs. For example, this one is going to show you the instructions, how to use it. This one's going to tell you simple use cases, etc. So one thing you want to know is the tabs, and another thing you want to know is the formula bar, which is this slide in the top. Like if you click on this cell, for example, you can then click again here in the formula bar, and you can edit it, or you can see which cells it references, because we're going to highlight you the cells, and that's quite a useful thing to know. Like once you know these two things, that's gonna make life easier for you. That's all about the basic concepts. Let's look at these 3 simple use cases. And obviously, as I said, go ahead and download or like make a copy of this Google Spreadsheet. You can open it. Once you open it on your computer, you go to File and you make a copy. Yeah. Once you make a copy, you can click on this tab here, Folder, and you can choose which folder you want to place it on your own Google account. And Google account is actually like, it comes free together with your Google Mail. Like it's part of the Google Docs, where you have like Word, like page, word processor, and also this comes for free, so you can use it. And you can make a copy of this and experiment with this, break it, kind of try to wrap your head around it, because also when you go to Google Sheets homepage, you will see that there are a lot of templates from Google, and I will show you how. You click on this green icon in the corner, and it will show you all the spreadsheets you've been working on before, and there's a template gallery at the top right. Yeah, you click on that, and you have all those different templates. But the thing about those templates is they're quite sophisticated, can be quite sophisticated. So that's why I recommend you first make a copy of this one, go through it, wrap your hand around it, break it, make it, see how the formulas work, and after that, once you've kind of solidified the key concepts, go to that template gallery, and you can check out more templates on Google, which sometimes can be quite useful. So 3 simple use cases. We're almost there, yeah? It's gonna be a short video. Let's make the most out of it by looking at these 3 simple examples to get your creative juices flowing, yeah? One is a habit tracker, which is essentially a bunch of checkboxes. However, it can be quite handy if you have a bunch of things you have to do every day. You can gamify this a little bit by ticking on the boxes, and you can see there are weeks across the top. There are days of the week. There are dates, and then you just tick over the boxes as you go along. That's completing your habits. If you want to create a new habit, you can just enter that in the next cell, put the next ID number, and then you select all of those cells by holding Shift or whichever way you want to select them, and you insert checkbox here. And then you have another row of checkboxes, and then as you go by your day, you just tick them off. It's a nice way of doing it. I'm gonna post this. There's a good book about forming habits by James Clear, which I quite like, and it can be quite useful to use this. It's very easy spreadsheet, but it can be quite useful for your habit tracking. Next one is project plan. Project plans quite easy to track with Google Sheets because it is a very low friction. For example, you can just begin by having a task list. So you can just have this single column on its own, just to, when you work on your school project, for example, something like that, you just write down everything that comes to your mind, and you can add things later as they continue coming to your mind later on. And then once you've done that, you can add a column with the date, so that you know when you have to deliver them by. And if you double click, it shows you the calendar, which is quite useful. And this is already a very simple and nice looking project plan. And you can go further by adding a status, which turns it into a to-do list. As you saw already in Habit Tracker, you tick tasks off as you complete them. And then you just continue adding the columns. It's actually I have some reservations about using Google Spreadsheets for project planning. However, for this specific use case, it can be quite useful because it has a low friction of learning and adding new data into it. Yeah, you can go to different applications which are specifically designed for project planning, but the downside is that you have to learn a lot. You have to figure out how to add how statuses work, how to add descriptions, how to add people to different people to assign those tasks, etc. Here it's quite easy. Like you have this. If suddenly you have 3 more people working on your team on the same project, you just not a problem. Just add this column for assignee, and you can enter the names there, and it's already much more functional because you already know when they have to deliver, who needs to deliver, and what they're delivering. You can add the notes column, which allows you to describe a little bit more about what it is. Maybe you have a meeting about it and you have to take some notes and to hear about each task. You can add priority, which means that some tasks may be higher priority than others. You can add an ID field. Yeah. So it's quite easy to add things. That's kind of the main point about it. And last but not least is college budget. And you can find a lot of templates about it. I'm actually passing this really nice template gallery, which is also free, also allows you to copy things. I'm gonna link down below. And the good thing about this spreadsheet for the budget plan is that it doesn't have any bells and whistles, no design, nothing. It's just basically like a bare bones. Here just simple 3 sections, like months for the whole year running across the top. Simple 3 sections. Section for the income, section for fixed expenses, section for variable expenses. Totals showing in this column in the top, which are going to tell you the totals for this particular item. And you remember, if you click on the formula bar, it highlights you which cells it's going to add. Yeah. And there's another totals running across with this gray cells. If you remember, gray cells means formulas. Yeah. So you click on each gray cell. Click on the formula bar, and it highlights you what it's gonna add. So you're gonna have the sum of fixed expenses, for example. That's how much you spend on rent housing, yeah? And that's your fixed expense. So it's gonna run the same across all the months. And this is what it's gonna come up to in the end of the year, yeah? And then there's variable expenses, which means that they vary from month to month, yeah? And then it's the same idea. It shows you how much on the end of the year, and how much per month across all of them. And then in row 11, it shows you total expenses. You click on formula bar and you see that it adds total for fixed expenses and total for variable expenses. So it's like super bare bones thing, which is actually quite powerful. Sometimes you don't even need anything else because you just work with the values. You just enter your numbers into the cell, and that's pretty much all you want to do. You don't really want to go much more sophisticated than it already is. And you don't need to make it harder for yourself, essentially. And that's pretty much it. What I wanted to tell you: hit like and subscribe, and turn on notifications. Maybe we just look at the 10 most popular formulas, or maybe we can improve some of the templates. Yeah. Have a nice journey. I see you in the next one.